The best city builder of the year every year for the 2010s. I have to warn you, after the long road of the past 2 decades, these 10 years had a rough time than most starting out for the city building genre. But I promise you, it goes from not so great to the best. Keep watching and you will not only find some of your favorites, you may be surprised by what we find along the way. There will be bonus mentions, and if you like this, subscribe for more because I got a lot more of these kinds of videos coming, plus plenty from the last 10 years. Now, we're going to 2010, and it was a bit of a dry spell again this year. The best city builder of 2010 is Cities XL, but not the original one. There's Cities XL 2011 that released in 2010, and generally it's not considered all that good. So Cities XL is an urban modern era city builder, which was okay, I guess. And Cities XL originally released in 2009, but the company then closed down because it wasn't selling all that well. Then Focus Home acquired the franchise and released a new version of Cities XL called Cities XL 2011, but it released in October 2010. So that's just confusing. They included new features like more buildings, maps, improved public transport, an enhanced tax system, better trading options, stuff like that. Then they went on to make Cities XL 2012, which released in 2011. It's very confusing. But generally, this era of Cities XL was just kind of very messy. 2010 didn't have a lot of options, so Cities XL 2011, that released in 2010, is the best city builder of 2010, and that just is bizarre, you know? But okay. I wouldn't really recommend going back to playing this unless you're particularly curious or you know what you're getting into. I mean, this whole series got a bit weird. Cities XL Platinum released in 2013, which is supposed to be just the best version of it, and it received mixed reviews. So the Cities XL series, not one of the best, but an interesting one to look at anyway, and it's an option that's there. But yeah, there are better games to talk about. It's just in 2010, this is the best we got. But now, going to 2011, Tropico 4 released, what many consider to be the best Tropico game. So we talked about Tropico earlier in the previous section, but Tropico 4 just took it to new heights and new levels. People just really love this one. There's so much content, there's so much personality, people just really like it. It's not the most popular or most played Tropico game these days, but it is often considered the best. Even though it does look dated by today's standards, and this era of 3D was still kind of rough in terms of understanding how to keep the graphics looking good into the future. The whole 2005 to about 2012-ish games really didn't know what the 3D was going to be looking like in the future. But Tropico 4, a solid entry and probably one of the best city builders to have ever been made. It ranks up there, anyway. And you can be El Presidente again, and be the best dictator that you can be, and make tons of money in your little island nation that you control. Just deal with some disasters and control your people and make a lot of money and make sure you get rich and play the politics to your personal profit. That's what Tropico is all about. And Tropico 4, best city builder of 2011, I'm pretty sure about that one. As the years go up and down, 2012 was also not a great year for city builders. The best I could find is SimCity Social. I mean, generally in these off years where we're not getting great city builders, SimCity is still the best that we get. But this one was a Facebook game. It's a mobile social media platform game, which I don't even think exists these days anymore. I mean, the game, not Facebook. But SimCity Social was it's a defunct online social game where you kind of have resources and you develop and maintain a city. I would not really recommend it as any kind of a good game, but it was the best we got for the year. I mean, the only other option for 2012 that I could find is The Simpsons Tapped Out, which is a branded mobile game, which also I think is not running anymore either. The Simpsons Tapped Out It was fine for a mobile city builder. I mean, it was Simpsons themed and you were building Springfield and it was kind of a city builder, so the choice here for best city builder for 2012 was SimCity Social or The Simpsons Tapped Out. I wouldn't rank either of them very high on any list, but being strict to the best of the year every year, 2012 gave us this. So that's the best we got. I would just say SimCity Social ranks higher than The Simpsons Tapped Out as a city building game because it doesn't have the brand tie-in defining its whole experience. So we move on to 2013 and the bleakness of the best city builder for the year continues because this year we got SimCity 5, in parentheses, the latest SimCity game, which ended the entire SimCity series until today, where we still don't have any more new SimCity games because another series has overtaken them and you can't compete anymore. SimCity was bizarre with the ideas being put out, and some of them you could see the developers were in distress with what they had to say. At least that was the vibe I got. The whole idea of SimCity 5, this one which released in 2013, was that it was supposed to use cloud computing to process the simulation so that the simulation would not be processed on your computer, and that would allow it to be a lot more complex. So it would be processed online, and that's why you had to always be online to play SimCity. Within days, if not a day of the game releasing, someone hacked the game to run it offline and the simulation ran fine without an internet connection. Which means the whole always online requirement justification was just not true. Besides that, city sizes were limited extremely to tiny squares, and at that point people just kinda gave up on the game pretty quick. There were some patches and even an expansion called Cities of Tomorrow, and overall it kind of fixed all the big problems. They made the always online requirement go away, and apparently it turned out to be an okay game. But the reputation was destroyed already, and you can't even really buy it anywhere proper. It's on the EA store, but it's not on Steam, it's not on GOG, so you can't even really buy it easily. You just have to go straight to EA to get it, and that just means it's not worth the trouble. I mean, it might be interesting to look back and see how it actually got better, but at this point, it's just going to be dated and one of the most notorious breakdowns of city building reputations. The thing that started it all. This started with SimCity, and SimCity 2013 killed the whole thing, and this was pretty much the end of an era. You could see the city building genre at this time was waning. These years were just really bad for city builders. We got Tropico 4 in 2011, but then nothing besides that really since before 2010. Once we hit 2010, city building was looking like a dead genre, until we got to the next year, 2014. In 2014, an indie game released and it was becoming kind of a sensation. So there was this game in development since 2011 called Banished, and in 2014 it released. It blew up. This was one of the biggest indie games ever, and this was a time where indie games were really taking over from the AAA. Like Banished, released in 2014, FTL released in 2012, and FTL, if you don't know, faster than light, it's not a city builder, but FTL was a game that was an indie game, and it really blew up, and it kickstarted this whole idea that, hey, indie developers can just make games and sell games, and they're successful and they're good. So a huge number of developers started trying the indie approach, and in 2014 we got Banished as a city builder. And it was a survival city builder. You have to survive seasons. Your people can starve. This was full-on, fully established as a survival city builder. That wasn't really an established subgenre before. We mentioned it a little bit before with Moonbase and a little bit with Outpost, but survival city building was not really an idea. And Banished came along and it's like, hey, this is a survival city builder set in this medieval-esque setting, and it worked. The mods for Banished really have taken it far and wide, and it's one of the best city builders of all time. I'm not sure exactly where you would rank it. I would probably not put it in the top 10, top 15, definitely, of all time. But Banished released in 2014, and this sparked the realization that city builders aren't dead. We just need to twist them up a little bit, to add something new to it. There were just so many city builders that had released at this point that it was getting stale. Banished came along and said, how about a survival game plus city builder? Then we started to see a lot of developers jump on the survival city builder genre. And we can see that we got a lot more of those coming up. Banished, of course, inspired them, so it takes them a few years to build. We'll see that a bit later. But Banished released, it's like, okay, city building is not dead. We got some good ones on the way. Into 2015 and a revenge story, kind of. City Skylines released. So after the crash and burn of SimCity in 2013, 2 years ago, 2015 brought us City Skylines, and it had a rough start, but the whole vibe, I don't think it was ever officially said this way, but the whole vibe of City Skylines was like, hey, what if we made SimCity? But it was actually good. City Skylines did feel a little rushed out because it's only 2 years since SimCity 5 released and didn't do well. But City Skylines came along and it's like, oh, well, this is at least a little bit better than that. So people jumped on it. For a decade now, City Skylines has been the biggest city builder in the world. The most played city builder in the world is City Skylines. Mods for it, countless expansions and DLC for it. More stuff just keeps being produced and people keep playing it. People love playing City Skylines, and even though there's a sequel now, people still prefer to play the original City Skylines more. City Skylines 2 is the second most played city builder in the world, so it's not failing in any way. But the original City Skylines just dominated the modern, urban setting city builder. And nothing else could ever come close to competing with that. That essentially sealed SimCity as a dead series. Because how could you make a new SimCity with City Skylines dominating the scene? Or at least you don't really want to compete with that. You'd have to invest so much and still risk losing it. So City Skylines, massive, massive game. At the time when it first released, it was much more simple, much more straightforward. It was just better than the new SimCity, and that was enough for most people. Paradox Interactive has run with this. They've made so much money, and it's continuing to get patched and updated and stuff today. So City Skylines, one of the best city builders ever made, and even if you don't personally like it, it is currently continuing to be the most popular city builder in the world, definitely the best city builder that released in 2015. Now, 2016, it's a dead year for city builders, I'm sorry. There was nothing there. There's pretty much no game that would really be counted as a city builder in my books. Kind of like the year 1997 with Constructor. The closest I could find to anything that resembled a city builder is Predynastic Egypt, and it's not even really a city builder. It's kind of this indie-looking kingdom management game set in ancient Egypt or pre-dynastic Egypt. It's an interesting-looking one, and there's some resource and city management, but it's not a city builder. It's a strategy, turn-based historical game. So I'm not gonna dwell on this one. There's just no good city builders for 2016. It's kind of nothing even close. That's the best I could find. Some of you might consider pre-dynastic Egypt to be a city builder. I don't. But if you know of any city builder that released at all in 2016, that's going to be the best one, even if it's not good at all. But then 2017 brought us one that's actually quite popular, but many of you might be put off by the visuals: Kingdoms and Castles. This is the best city builder of the year, and if you just look at it, it looks like another run-of-the-mill voxel low-poly building game, but Kingdoms and Castles blew up. It's got overwhelmingly positive user reviews on Steam, over 90% overall and 95% recent reviews, so it's just super popular. There's a decent number of people who continue to play this game as well. So Kingdoms and Castles, it's a city building game about growing your kingdom from a tiny hamlet into a sprawling city and setting up your imposing castle. You make trade agreements, alliances, war with neighboring AI-controlled kingdoms, and each villager and resource is individually simulated. So this one, although it looks like a simple little indie thing, was very, very popular, and a lot of people love this. The developers are continuing to make new games, so those are anticipated. But for 2017, Kingdoms and Castles pretty much is the best city builder of the year. It might not be for everyone, but it is the best one for then. Okay, going into 2018, the survival city builder wave inspired by Banished is going to start picking up here, and 2018 brought us the best city builder of the year, Frostpunk. This is a survival city building game with some interesting layouts and mechanics. Set in a frozen post-apocalypse, your city is a circle, and you're placing buildings along this circle centered around the heating pillar, which keeps people warm and alive. People can starve, people can freeze to death. There's a winter season. One of the defining features of survival city builders is seasons, and there's typically one season that's more dangerous than the others. Usually it's like spring, summer, autumn, winter, and winter is harsh. In Frostpunk, because it's always frozen, it just gets colder in the, quote, winter season. You can now survive in the city building game, and people really love it because it also brought in a lot of societal aspects and ethical, moral choices as you build your city and survive this harsh post-apocalypse. Frostpunk 1 is one of the best city builders of all time and definitely the best city builder of 2018, so this is one that you can get into if you really like the survival aspect in city building games. But because it's so heavy on the survival aspect, some people consider this not a city builder. I still think it is. You are building houses, you're just surviving against this really, really harsh environment. There is a sequel, which was released more recently, but Frostpunk 2, as a bonus mention, I'm going to talk about it here, is more of a societal manager. Less city building, more society management, so it's kind of a city builder, but less so. And generally, Frostpunk 1 is considered to be the better game overall. So 2018, Frostpunk, best city builder of the year. As another bonus mention here, I should also say 2018 released Surviving Mars, which is a sci-fi city builder that is very, very successful, very, very popular. People love Surviving Mars, and I think I should mention it here, but I would still rank Frostpunk as being the best city builder of 2018. So the genre is picking back up now, and 2019 brought us probably the best city builder of all time in some people's books, Anno 1800. The Anno series continues, and Anno 1800 is a very, very solid entry to the series, and up until today, it is either the best or second best, depending on whether you prefer 1404. Generally speaking, that's the consensus. Anno 1800 is a fantastic game. It looks gorgeous, there's a lot of content for it, so the DLC can get excessively expensive. I would recommend waiting for a sale if you want to jump into it. Anno 1800 is popular, it is successful, it looks great, it plays great, and it's one of the most played city builders in the world now. You are, of course, building on your island cities and colonizing other islands and doing a lot of trade by ships. So it's Anno, but a step up. As a bonus mention here, 2019 also brought us Tropico 6, which is currently the most popular Tropico game. Many do consider it the best Tropico game, but then a lot of people don't. A lot prefer Tropico 4 or other Tropico games, but Tropico 6 also released in 2019. I think it's a clear winner, though, that the best city builder of the year is Anno 1800. Because Anno 1800 is just a solid choice in a lot of regards, not just for 2019, but like of all time. It should be stated that there are those who don't consider Anno games to be city builders because it's just a lot of logistical management and resource moving around. But I think by the definitions we've set, Anno 1800 continues to be solidly a city builder, and 2019 Anno 1800, I'm gonna say, is the best city builder of the year. There are some who find some things about it kind of annoying. There's certain questing where you have to like, where's Wally, finding some NPCs in your cities, and some weird quest stuff like that that not everyone enjoys, but for the most part, you are still just building up your cities on these islands, dealing with the production chains, and moving ships around, and doing some diplomacy and naval combat and all that good stuff. It's 1800, so there's some tourism as well, and you know, it's a different era, it's the Industrial Revolution. So some things have changed up, and I have played through the main original campaign of Anno 1800 on this channel as well. It's a good one. And there you have it. I know there are many games that I have not mentioned. Please do let me know which ones you think I should have mentioned, or which you think would actually be considered better than the ones that I listed. Keep in mind, I'm limited to the format for this particular list, the best of the year every year, so I tried to mention bonus ones as I went through, but let me know if you have any disagreements or other ideas of how you would have listed things. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts. Anyway, that's going to be it for now. If you enjoyed this, please do consider subscribing or following on Blue Sky, or maybe you could check out extra stuff on Patreon. But if anything, if you want to buy any of these games on GOG, do use the referral link down below as well. And because I'm a YouTuber, hit that bell, I guess? Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this and found it interesting and or useful, and I'll see you in the next video.